Raheem here. Welcome. Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Let's slay some demons. Brothers and sisters, we are at a critical time in history, an unprecedented time in history. And most of us are lost. We have no idea what's happening around us, and that is by design. Everything that's happening around us right now can be reduced to one thing. The Abrahamic covenant. If you could just understand that, that will solve 90% of your problems. The Abrahamic covenant. What you see happening around you right now is in response to the Abrahamic covenant. What is the Abrahamic covenant? You will find it in two places. There's hints of it in the Quran, but there's detail. The contract, covenant are the same thing. Covenant is just the biblical word for contract. A contract with God. And you find it both in the so-called Old Testament and the New Testament, so they can't say it was abrogated. It's a very simple covenant. It's only one paragraph. And what it says, basically, there's no fine print there. The Abraham seed would be a stranger in a land that's not theirs. They would sojourn. Sojourn means temporary. Read it. Sojourn means temporary. That means we'll only be here temporary. Forget about what Farrakhan is trying to tell you. We're going to stay here permanently. We're going to rule America and all this BS. It says sojourn. We'll be here temporarily. But we would stay here. We sojourned here 400 years. 400 years. And then the nation that brought us here and oppressed us and enslaved us for 400 years will be judged at the end. To the promised land. Will return to the promised land. With great wealth. That is the Abrahamic covenant. So let me repeat. Everything that's happening now surrounds the Abrahamic covenant, is as a result of the Abrahamic covenant. That's a fact. I'm not going to go into all the details, but I'm going to give you a basic summary of why that is the case. The Abrahamic covenant. One chapter or one paragraph in both the Old and New Testament. I can't repeat it enough. A covenant made with God to the seed of Abraham, that we would be in a foreign land, not ours, be oppressed and enslaved for 400 years, 1619 to 2019. That'll be 400 years. And then the nation that that oppressed us and enslaved us will be judged. That'll be 2020. And it will start out with a plague. All this is in Exodus. And then we will go out with great wealth, return to the promised land. So we will sojourn here. It says so. They use the word sojourn. It means temporary. That means we will not be here permanently, as Mr. Farrakhan and all the other demons and liars are trying to deceive you with. We're going to one day rule America and all this BS. That is the covenant of Abraham, which is a contract. Covenant is just another word for contract. Covenant is the biblical word for contract. A contract with God. And as I said initially, all the scriptures, virtually all the scriptures, are addressing this point in time about the Abrahamic covenant, the fulfillment of it, the war that's going to result, the conclusion, the redemption, all of it surrounding the Abrahamic covenant. And I'm going to attempt to explain some of these things without going into a lot of detail. And most of you have no idea what's going on because, as I said already, that is by design. Because once you understand the Abrahamic covenant and you orientate it, in other words, you take and you put it in the right perspective, everything becomes clear. For those who are the seed of Abraham and for those who are not the seed of Abraham. And that's what the problem is, because those who are not the seed of Abraham, they don't want that covenant fulfilled. They don't want that contract executed. Okay, let's look at a couple of things. What is this so-called promised land? Okay, that's the place they currently call Saudi Arabia. It's North Africa. It's the best part of planet Earth. Presently it's covered by sand to protect it from 6,000 years of abuse by Yaqub's creation. Now that's the land that we are to inherit for our sacrifice. Now they try to tell you we was brought up here because we're being punished. That's part of their plan to abrogate the covenant. Because if we were brought up here to be punished, then there's no reward for being punished. Whoever gets reward for being punished. That's another way to try to get you to think that the covenant will not be executed because you don't deserve it. And some of you are falling for it. So you have Arabia, which they call currently Saudi Arabia. There's reasons for that. That's the land we return to. Okay, that's one impact. Another impact is the country that had enslaved us and oppressed us. See? Okay, that's another element. So you have two elements involved in this contract. The country that enslaved us and oppressed us. The land that we're going to inherit. And there's a people who are pretending to be us. Identity theft. Another element. And then all the countries that are dependent upon the resources of Arabia. That's another element. So just based on what I've said so far, that impacts the entire world. That impacts the entire world. So how would you accomplish, how could that be accomplished, the fulfillment of the Abrahamic covenant? I didn't intentionally forget to mention us because we're the center, we're the Abrahamic. We are the seed of Abraham because we have fulfilled our part of it, the 400 years. That's not a coincidence. We have been here 400 years in land that is not ours. So all these elements. and impacts the entire world. So to accomplish this, to execute this contract, to fulfill this contract, then what does that mean? That means America is going to be punished and destroyed. They don't want that. That means Arabia will have to be cleaned out, swept clean. All the Sunnis will have to be removed because that's our land. They don't want that. That means false Israel is suddenly exposed, and now they have no identity and no land. They don't want that. And then Europe and India and China are totally dependent upon the resources, the oil resources of Arabia. That means now you, the most despised people on the planet, that everyone has been kicking around in ways that you don't even understand yet, are now in control of their lifeblood. They don't want that. Am I getting through to you, brothers and sisters? This is a worldwide event. And so they have to find ways to stop this Abrahamic covenant, to keep it being fulfilled. So first, they're going to try passive means to begin with. They've already tried those. I'll briefly go over them. And if they are not working, then they will go for aggressive means. So if you read the scripture, it says, let us deal shrewdly with them. In other words, in a way that they will not see it coming. It says it will come as a snare on those who dwell upon the earth. Unless you understand the angel, you will not understand what that means. So it said, first they would try abortion. 22 million blacks babies dead in the last 50 years. This is the Democratic Party. That would be their first effort. Then having failed, then they would go after you economically. They sent all your jobs to China, your industrial jobs to China, or your intellectual jobs to India, or your agricultural jobs to Mexico, and left you with nothing but prisons. And the few jobs that's left here, they talk about automating them, so that leaves you nothing. Which leads to another thing, because when you have nothing, that means you're going to rebel. And when you rebel, that's when they slam the door on you. The door to the gas chamber. And that is in progress right now. You have the Democratic Party and the Republican. They have the same agenda, just different approaches. They have to neutralize that covenant. Now, I got ahead of myself a little bit here, because one of the other things they had to do is try to take and sell you on abrogating that covenant. See, that's why they set up false Israel. They were hating those people for thousands of years. Suddenly, after the arrival of Farad to come and to tell us that he intends to fulfill that covenant that he made with Abraham, and sent up his messenger to remind us of the covenant. That's when they knew they had a problem. So that's when the drama started. So first they had to neutralize the message. As I said, I got a little ahead of myself there. They had to neutralize the message. Have a counter narrative. We could not possibly be the seed of Abraham. So they set up false Israel. People they was running up the chimneys just days earlier. All of a sudden they became the chosen of God, the beloved of the earth, the salt of the earth. And Americans practically went bankrupt to support that lying narrative that they're the true seed of Abraham. That means they had to be put back into the land of Abraham, so-called promised land. That's what that's all about. And they have to keep that lie going at all cost. So they support false Israel under all circumstances, no matter what, because they have to keep that narrative going. Not only to neutralize that narrative, but to deceive you, to get you to undermine what Elijah Muhammad was trying to do, to get you not to believe in the covenant. Because, hey, that can't be us. To sow doubt in your mind. And then, so once Elijah departed, because they was planning, because they said, we have to take and get rid of that. First, we have to change the narrative. And then we have to get rid of the source of the narrative. That means they go after Elijah Muhammad, which is, we see in the Son of Perdition, where he was taken out of the way because they was plotting against him. Then he sent his son, Wallace, and Farrakhan, right? Son of Perdition, to sell us on the idea. See, this is another phase. See, to neutralize the narrative, and then to get us to abrogate the contract. How you do that? Let's just use a simple analogy here. You've been paying on this Lamborghini for years, paying down on it. So finally you get it paid off. Then you go to pick it up, and the guy tells you, hey man, you've been paying this thing for a long time. You must really can't afford it. And you know how much expensive it's going to be? You're going to need a garage, you're going to need all this insurance, you're going to need all this maintenance, and you may not be able to really afford this now. So why don't you take this BMW over there? See, because if you take the BMW, man, you can definitely afford that. And then we'll give you a lifetime maintenance guarantee such that, And they're gonna send us some salesman. They're gonna find some salesman that you trust, a relative if possible. Yeah, bro. Hey man, I think that's where you should go, man. Because hey, you mess that Lamborghini, man. You ain't gonna be it's gonna be in the garage all the time. So he sells you on that. Once he sells you on that, what happens? Once you sign the contract, now, okay, you come back later and say, no, I mean, I think that was a bad idea. Well, it's too late now. You can't go to court with that one because did you sign the contract? Yeah, well, did anybody force you? No. Okay, well, that's the end of that. There's no liability anymore on the people that you was buying it from. You're stuck with that deal. And that's the idea about this reparations and the 6 states that Farrakhan is trying to sell you on. Because they have to have a salesman, right, that you can trust. And that's Farrakhan. We're not going anywhere. When he tells you not going anywhere, he's telling you the covenant is not going to be executed. That God is not going to fulfill the covenant. He's right undermining right there. You're not going anywhere. That means it's just like telling you, you're not going to get that Lamborghini. I don't care, you paid for it and everything else, right? Yeah, we had a contract, but I'm not going to honor that contract. I'm not going to give you anything. I ain't getting your money back either. So, well, That's what he's telling you. You made the sacrifice. You fulfill your part of the agreement 100%, and now you're not going to get anything. That's what he's telling you. When he tells you you're not going anywhere, God's not going to fulfill the covenant, even though that was the whole purpose of Uriah coming here. It tells he'll execute the contract. That's the whole bottom line of Elijah Muhammad's mission, is to remind you of it. Now he's telling you after all of that, after all they've done, after all of Uriah done, after all of Elijah Muhammad done, that you ain't going no, that don't mean anything. I don't care what they say, you ain't going nowhere. And you go along with that? Because right now, hey man, you don't want to go to that sand, all that sand over there. And why you want to go over there? And look at all this right here. Everything undermined it. And undermined him. And he's the chief spokesman. He's the son of perdition to sell you on that. And that's they go full time trying to sell you on that even today. Because now they have no problem getting reparations. They would have gave it to you long ago. The problem is Elijah Muhammad was the problem. Because we all have to be on board with it. Because if just one of us not on board with it, then Allah has to fill that contract with that one person. See? And that's why this Democratic Party, all blacks lined up with that, because if the majority, if you bind that democracy, if the majority of blacks, right, that borders that democracy says that's what we want to do, then the rest are obligated to do it because you borders that democracy. That's the whole idea. So that's, they got those people, and you see how they lockstep in that Democratic Party. So then you got the outliers. That's the Nation of Islam. So you got to get that one under control. That's a whole different process, because that is under a one person leadership. So that one person can speak for it. So if you part of the Nation of Islam and Farrakhan's Nation of Islam, he says, we're going to take these reparations and we're going to take this deal, then you're part of it because you're part of the organization, so you have to go along with that. That's what they had to do. The problem is they couldn't get 100% there either. Because you got a lot of people still holding on to Elijah Muhammad that's not going to buy that deal. And that's why they pissed off at him right now, because he's not effective. Because he's got to get all under that. And he's got quite a few. Because you have no idea what's going on. And then, yeah, and you see all over the social media and everything, yeah, man, we need to get reparations. We need to get reparations. Really? You want to take that deal? 6 states, $1 million a person or whatever? Because if you take that deal, then all of a sudden the contract is abrogated. Our press is off the hook because you accepted payment for everything they did to us. So there's no consequence against them. There's nothing for God to judge them for, because they've paid off and you accepted the payment. False Israel is happy because now they can keep their identity and keep that land over there that they claim that belongs to them. The Sunnis are happy because you ain't coming over there now and bothering them. Everybody else is happy because now you ain't controlling anything. And you sitting over here with this, and that's a whole trick. I'm not going to go into all that. That's a whole trick bag in itself, because that's just one step to get rid of you. Because now all of a sudden, God is not protecting you anymore because you already accepted the deal, and he has no obligation to. God honors contracts. You better get that through your head. He honors contracts. Look at the story about Jacob and Esau. Esau was the inheritor. He was the firstborn. He was the inheritor. That means God was supposed to support that idea, his inheritance. But he allowed Jacob to trick him out of it. And so God honored the contract that Jacob had. Read the story. So that's another trick they have. That's another approach. Do that. And once they isolate you from God, isolate you over there in these 6 days or whatever, it won't be long before they finish you off. So you got that one. Abortion. Economic. See? All these 3 aspects they're coming at you with. And they got some more. but they're not been successful. So finally they said, well, we'll throw them into the river. We'll just kill them. And that's where we are right now. And so this presentation is to try to explain some of that. See? Because it says they have a plan, Allah has a plan. Allah is the best of planners. So without going to a lot more, I want to explain, go into this as a short presentation, give you some idea, right, of how this plays out in the angel. Elijah Muhammad, he was very general. They're seeking your destruction. He doesn't tell you details. There's no details in the Quran either. So if you want to listen to these people, they try to drag you back 40 years, try to drag you back 1,400 years, trying back 2,000 years, 4,000 years, go on. Have at it. All these distractions, all over social media, everywhere. These people know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They have to eliminate you because it's come to that now. Because nothing else has worked. That's what it says. Read it. It says everything else failed, so just throw them to the river, just drown them all. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's go in and see how far we can get into this presentation. And maybe I have something to say on the back end. Okay, let's go. The locust plague. The locusts there's 2 locust plagues in the Injil. Each one lasts 5 months. It sounds like it's 1, but there's 2. And we're in the midst of one right now. See, now who are the locusts? The locusts are demons. They're in the Injil. The locusts are specifically are the one they call the pale horse. That's really a bad translation. It should be greenish yellow. And that's one of the reasons why they call it locusts, because that's the same color locusts are. But they're the plagues. They're masses children. Masses black-faced children, demons. The result of 400 years of raping black women. Okay, now I have on the left their plan. On the right, Farah's plan. Okay, what I'm showing here is 2020, right? Between January and May, right? This is where we were between January and May. This is the structure, okay? You had the sackcloth, which are the 2 witnesses, Iran and Syria, right? They're cast down. America and Britain is false Israel, right? That's Eve, Cain, and Adam. They're in control of the Middle East. They're the dominant powers in the Middle East, superseding, right, Iran and Syria. That's what it means. They're on the bottom there. Now, when you see this on the left hand side, we're talking about from the point of view of Adam and Eve in Genesis. Okay, so we're using 2 tracks here, same puzzle. So how they talk about it there, the Adam and Eve, and how they talk about it, right, in the angel. Okay, the angel is the key to Adam and Eve. Okay, so here you go. Now this is where it is, right? And then, okay, then it says, okay, now this is May. Now you saw the sackcloth. Okay, what that means is that they've moved up. I'm not going into all the details. I have videos to explain that. What they're saying here is that Um, this is as a result of Mr. Trump killing the so-called Iran agreement. The bottom line here is, without a lot of detail, is that the plague, that the one there with the face across, that's demons, right? That's the plague, this, right? And it starts, right? This plague starts in May. That means the civil unrest in America will have the demons. Remember, the locusts represent the demons. And if you go further, it talks about the three demons. It said they were called the plagues. Well, that's the second demon plague. We're talking about the first one. Okay, so that's what that represents right there. So it's two things happening there. Two things happening, because if you read chapter 11, right, not only the witnesses, not only are the locusts a plague, but the witnesses also execute plagues. In other words, it says they had the power to plague the earth, the European countries, as often as they wish with plagues. So what we see here, like I said, I'm going in general because it will take a long time to go and explain. Only those who've been studying angel, they understand what I'm talking about. Those who have it, I'm talking in generalities because it'll be all night trying to get you up to speed. So what it's saying here is that, and during this time, right, you have two things going on. You have the plague of the witnesses, that's that COVID-19 plague. You also had a plague of the demons, civil unrest in the cities. Okay? Now nothing's happened over here on the left yet. That's what's happening over here on the right. This is May. Okay. Now, this is their plan. Now their plan is, right, Adam and Eve was told not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now, some of you think that's one tree. Well, it's not. Just like the woman in chapter 12, it's four parts to the woman. See, when they tell the woman, there's four parts to it, and it's four parts to this tree, because it's the good part, the evil part, the tree of life, and all other so forth. So anyway, the tree of life represents the NOI and the Christian demons. One's the knowledge of evil, that's the Christian demons. One knowledge of good, that's NOI. Those of you who've been studying angel understand this. They was told not to eat of it. In other words, they could torment us, they could enslave us, they could beat us, just like the thing about Job, but you couldn't kill us. And when you eat something, consume it, that means you get rid of it. You're killing it. It no longer exists. When you eat something that doesn't exist anymore, they was told not to kill. That's why I said, do not eat of that tree. And they did it anyway. That means, right, that's their plan, was to get rid of us. See, they got to the point and said, we just get rid of them. That's their plan. That's in motion right now. That plan is in motion right now. When you see all this civil unrest, right, that's what that's all about. Not only you see all these whites involved in that, that's part of the plan, because a lot of them are there to egg on the demons. They get them to keep on acting, doing what they're doing. See, so they provide the excuse, because what is Trump saying? Oh, they're anti-Antifada, and they're they're anti-terrorists and everything. They're setting you up to destroy you. They have a reason to come in and just, because he can say, we're going to send troops in to get rid of you. But you think, oh man, you don't know. Have you this COVID-19 was originally designed to get rid of you. I'm not going into details to get rid of you, but it backfired. But look at the result. They say it's over 30 million jobs, people out of work. There's only about 34 million black people in America, and only half of them are demons, and half of those are original. And if there's 34 million, how many of those you think are black people? And they're getting ready to evict what they say 30 million people, because they can't pay their rent. and they're going to cut off unemployment. Who is that affecting? And so what you going to do? Or with, and even if even without that, there's hardly any jobs left anyway. And they're building prisons as fast as you can say prisons. They send you up because all you're going to have left in a minute when you look around is the riot, because there's nothing before you. And I'm giving a perfect example, reason to get rid of you, because you're being violent. See how violent you're being? And who in the world is going to, has anybody in the world stood for any blacks in America yet? Has any leader in any part of the world stood up and says, hey man, you stop treating the people like that? Or you think anybody's going to care if America commits genocide on black folks in America? You think anybody in the world is going to care? They do. What they going to do about it? Nobody's going to give a damn. China's not going to give a damn. They already don't want you over there now. They're exploiting Africa. You think Russia's going to give a damn? You think Europe is going to give a damn? You think Africans don't give a damn? Have they ever stood with you in and say, hey man, y'all stop treating them black folks? Have they? Better get real. That's their plan on the left there. See? And Eve ate first, then told Adam to eat. See? So they're both going after, that's their plan. See? Okay. On the right, see, is Farah's plan. Because it says his purpose, that he who guards Israel neither sleeps nor slumber. That's his duty. He's to guard us as long as we have not abrogated that contract. So at this point, what you see is America and Britain at war with Michael and his Shia. That's his angels, the Shia. So that's why you see them covering America and Britain and false Israel. They're at war now in the Middle East. Both these things are about to happen. One thing, in other words, if you read, the reason why it's like this is because that's their plan on the left. That's the way it shows it in the Genesis. On the right is where it shows an angel. It's two different things. Because if you read the sixth seal, it says why. It says because it happened suddenly. It says the figs was shaken by unexpected, by a great wind. That means the unripe figs. That means the figs weren't ripe yet. See, because false Israel is called the fig tree, and American Britain are the figs. So that means they were strong because they wasn't. So it was, why went to war with them before they had a chance to execute what you see on the left? Because what you see on the left would be, if they had done what they're about to do, that would have been the end of us. He went to war first. See, before they had a chance to execute that plan. Okay? Hope you understand that. See. So then, America and false Israel and Britain is kicked out of the Middle East. Michael's angels go to war with the dragon and his angels. That's what happens here. That's what happens on the other side also. See, only difference is that both things happen, but in the sequence that happens, because on the right side, this happens, right? Well, let me put it this way. Look on the left side. After they ate, what happened? It says, then they covered themselves with sackcloth. Or they covered themselves with cloth or whatever. But it's sackcloth, that's what I'm talking about. That's what it means. Now they covered themselves up because they was naked before. Now they covered themselves up, right? So that means the war happens after they got rid of black people. See? On the right side, right, the war happened before. So now, so now in the left side, black folks are gone. On the right side, they're attacking black people. The Muslims and the Christians alike. All the demons and the chaff alike. So on the right, they're attacking them, right? On the left, they've already got rid of them. That was their plan. Okay? There's two different things. They look alike, but one in case they've been attacked. And that's why you see the Lamb, he's the high priest over here in the west, right? Then he comes, right? And he's coming, right, to guide, right? The NOI, to get them prepared, to clean them up. That's getting back to Malachi, where the Lord you seek, the messenger of the covenant, the filler of the covenant, that's Joshua. See, first you had Elijah or Moses. Then you had a lion, no good, Farrakhan or Aaron, right, for 40-some years, son of perdition. And then you had Joshua. He's the one that's the filler of the covenant, the clean up, mess up that Farrakhan had made to take us back to our home. See? Okay. So on the right, you see them attacking. See, the wars happened. They got kicked out of the Middle East. Now they're attacking. See, in all due respect to Elijah Muhammad, he said that then when that war takes place, he did talk about a war, but he mentioned he was talking about the war. The way he was talking about the war was like, well, I'm not gonna say it. He said a war over there. He says when they come back, they're gonna look at us like the people that just had got their ass kicked by and come after us. So that's consistent with what he was saying. But on the left over there, that was the war has happened after they've gotten rid of us. Okay. Then the winds blow. See, now these winds, right? That's for Rod, right? Sending out more plagues. Because why is he sending these plagues? To protect us. Because now they're trying to kill us, right? And so that's part of the beginning of his defense of us. That's what the four winds, because it says that will cause the resurrection. But they were hit with plagues because they're in the process trying to get rid of us, and so they've been hit with these plagues. See, for I send these plagues upon them, to prevent them from getting rid of us. A lot of us will be caught in the process. But that's the purpose of these winds. Okay? So I'm just showing the first two, right? The first, right, hitting America and Britain. Okay? And when this happened, it means the Lamb is there. Now the NOI is listening to him. They wouldn't listen before. At this point in time, they'd be listening. Then the winds finish blowing. Okay? Suleiman, right? Or Joshua. Suleiman just means son of man. It's Latin anyway. So now, right, he rises up back to his elect, get his elect. Then the resurrection takes place. The gathering of the wheat and the chaff all gather together. It said, let them go together. At harvest time, they'll be separated. That's the resurrection. See, the four winds had to blow, right? They chastised them, and during that time, all the blacks would come together. The demons as well as the saints all come together. Why? They come together because they have a common reason, because they're being attacked. They don't care that America and Britain will not give a damn, right? Whether you're a demon or not, you black, you got to go. They want to give anything that's black, even though if it's their seed, no matter. So they come together now. Now they come together. Okay? All come together. Now this is the judgment, not the judgment. It's the judgment between the chaff and the wheat. Separate the chaff from the wheat. That's a judgment. It's not judging the original nation. The original nation will not be judged, as even Elijah Muhammad said that, because we were righteous people coming here, right? And so you have to judge the people that corrupted us. This stuff that Farrakhan said, oh, we're sinful, and we're over here because we was full of sin, and all that's to make you think that you're not eligible for the Abrahamic covenant, that that's not applied to you. That's part of the plan. See, make you think you're not qualified for it. You don't deserve it, and it really don't belong to you anyway. No, you will not be judged. The shit ain't in you; it's on you. All you need is a bath, a shower, some strong soap. Some of us stronger soap than others. Once you get home, okay, that's what's going on here. Then that's where the demons are separated out. Demons are separated out, leaving the original, right? This is at the time where it says a time of unprecedented trouble. See, let's go back here. This, at this point right here, this is time of unprecedented trouble where all the blacks come together. This is what it talks about, a time of unprecedented trouble, where they're actually, they're being prepared. Their enemy is in the process of affecting their destruction. That's what's happening here. The four winds blowing, and they're under attack, right, to be destroyed. Okay, this is a time of unprecedented trouble. This is time when it says that's why it's like that, because they're about to kill you. They're about to stab you in the heart. This is the time it says, well, Michael will arise, and all those found in the Lamb's Book of Life, you see up the crowns up there, right? They will be delivered. See? And then you had two groups left. One for everlasting life, and one everlasting shame and torment. But the one everlasting life was not delivered. So how does he get everlasting life? Because he has to go through a tribulation period. He woke up too late. Okay? That's what's going on here. So we've just got delivered. We're back over in Arabia because the war is taking place. Who controls the Middle East? Who controls Arabia? The Shia. So now we're over there with them. They welcome us open arms, right? They don't want that land. They have Persia, right, which is next door, which is called Iran. So the land is given to us, right? So we're over there now. We've been delivered, right? The demon's been cast down, separated, right? And the NOI is going through tribulation, because the tribulation represents the waters, which I show here's horns. I didn't change that, and that's another story. But the top is the ark, and the ark was made of 9 parts, and it was resting on the water. Okay, that's what you see here. See on the same thing on both sides. Only thing, the difference between the different sides is that if they had executed their plan on the left-hand side, there would not be any demons. They would all be dead. See, maybe I should show that more dramatically. But over here, that's what you have here. Okay? And you see, this is the second demon plague. This is the one where America is about to be taken out, about to be overwhelmed by China and India. They're going to invade America, right? And so it's sword within and sword without. So America is going to be in total turmoil. What you see now with all this insurrection going on in the cities is nothing compared to what's about to happen. Because now you have these demons here. And if you see the one in the middle, he represents Samson, who is between two pillars, America, Adam and Eve in Britain, right? And he brought down the pillars. That's internally insurrection, because America's at war all over the world, specifically in Europe. America's at war with, and so is Britain with Russia and EU, and also with China and India. And now they're being destroyed internally because they have total turmoil, insurrection in the streets of America, because these demons, this demon possessed man. Remember, they didn't want to leave. They said, Jesus, please don't make us leave the country. They said, we'd rather stay here with our swine daddies. Massa. And so then they got to fight with each other and went off the cliff together. That's what you see right there. So you're getting to fight with each other. So America's a sword within, a sword without. So they're being at war externally with the nation and at war in America. And when I say war in America, internally, it will be one. It will be the evangelicals against the demons against, it'll be a disaster. And that's what will bring America down, because they can't fight external and internal. And then these demons will be tearing America apart. That's the second demon plague. See? The first one just had one group of demons. This one has all the demons. They're going to be tearing America apart. Okay. Hope you understand that. That's what we're up against. All these things are supposed to take place within days. Because we're at the point now, once that war starts, these things kick in. That's why I said all the thing revolves around the war that's about to happen. And why is this war about to happen? Because of the Abrahamic covenant. Because their reaction to the Abrahamic covenant and Pharaoh's reaction to them, because they tried everything to get out of that deal. And so now the last step is to get rid of evidence, is to get rid of black folks altogether. So there's no one to no one to benefit from that contract. I mean, if you sign a contract with someone and you die, then the other person is absolved of any responsibility of that contract. So if they get rid of the other signer of the contract, get rid of us, then that's another way to abrogate the contract. Because how can Farah fulfill the contract and take us to the promised land if we don't exist? That's their last result, to get rid of us. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So I'm just keep trying to bring this home, because this is what you're going to see. Like I said, as every day goes by, I make it clearer and clearer and clearer. As Elijah Muhammad said, the truth is made so clear, even a fool not her, because that's the whole point, to make it clearer and clearer and clearer. But it's hard to make it clear because I have to build on concepts, that you're not aware of. So I have to kind of say, it's like teaching a child math. First, you have to teach them numbers before you can teach them add and subtract. You have to teach them add and subtract before you can teach them math multiplication. So I just can't go straight to multiplication when you don't have no idea what a number is. That's the problem. So hopefully, some of you are on top of this, but many of you will be on top of it in a few days, because when this war starts and they come after you, that's going to wake you up. All these people try and drag you, these scriptees and these demons. Oh man, we going to mess with black men. Okay, stick with mess with black men. See if this gets you out of this. The only way you're getting out of here is in the Lamb's Book of Life. Period. You better read it. See, that's the only salvation you have. If you think the Quran is going to save you, then have at it. If you think messing black men is going to save you, then go with it. Okay, brothers and sisters, that's pretty much it. I think I'm going to close this out here now. I'm trying to make you understand, brothers and sisters. A time of unprecedented trouble, that's exactly what they mean. And at that time, you'll be delivered. Why? Because if it's unprecedented, that means the worst time. That means the time that you're about to die. But in your life, what is the most, in your lifespan, anyone's lifespan, what is the time of unprecedented trouble? The time of death. Because you only die once. That's the most troubled part of your life, is the time of death. That's the time they had scheduled for us to die. That's why I call it unprecedented trouble. That's why you had to be delivered. Because at that point, either you live or you die. And for us, He'll deliver us. That's why I said be suddenly. Unprecedented trouble, not beginning of it, not the end of it. That time of unprecedented trouble, the time they're going to stab Abraham sacrificed his son, and just he was put the dagger right through his heart before I stopped his hand. That's what I'm trying to tell you, brothers and sisters. You're being set up, all those distractions, NFL. See, Fry's already helped you because he's already put my stuff on hold. See, he's made you dissatisfied so you can start looking around thinking, but that's not working with many of you, because a lot of you say, hey man, I can't wait till the NFL comes back. All that's designed to distract you, to keep your mind. And then you got all this stuff on social media, People with tennis saying stuff they have no idea what they're talking about to keep you distracted. This is by design. They know exactly what they do. Many people are not even Muslim, right? You don't know who they are. The whole keep you distracted till they execute their plan to get rid of you. They've tried everything else. The last thing they would just kill you. That's what it says. Throw him in the river, drown him. And there's more to it than that. I can't go into all the details. And I'm telling you that because we days away in this. Remember I said 5 months? Okay, September is the 5th month of the first locust plague. See? Okay, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I'm going to leave it there. Assalamu alaikum.